All right, everyone. We are getting ready to start our live video. Oh, that didn't work. Why is it not on speaker view?
It is.
Is it?
For everyone else.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll go ahead and get started here. Happy Monday, everybody. We are so excited to have everybody joining us. And for those of you that don't know us personally yet, I'm Megan Renna, and this is Brandon Renna.
Hi.
Actually, I want to make sure that this is recording correctly here.
Should be.
Can somebody give me a thumbs up if it's showing us this?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. It's not on our end.
Let's leave it like this, that way we're bigger.
Perfect, yeah. But we are so excited to welcome you to our Monday night call. We know that we're going to have a very broad audience for tonight's topic, especially on exercise, and that it's different strokes for different folks is what I was kind of saying. Like everybody's at a different place, different level, different passions and pursuits in terms of exercise even. So we're really hoping that no matter where you're at in your journey and no matter where you're at in terms of exercise, that you leave tonight with something that will continue to move you forward on your journey, something that will be very applicable and to help you just continue to discover that best self. We know, obviously, that, we have some people that are brand new to exercise, have maybe never exercised before. Maybe you're just like kind of getting started in some of those areas. And then we have some real avid like athletes that are pursuing really like incredible fitness goals. But I do know that there's a lot of people that have like some pretty big aversions to exercise. And I was just going to kind of say, pop in the chat, like maybe if you've had any or you have maybe overcome, like what were your aversions or what are your aversions, right? Kristen?
What's your aversion, Kristen? You can pop it in.
Okay.
Oh, go for it.
So I am like the person who avoided the gym forever, stemming from all of the experiences that I had as a kid, growing up in sports and all of that stuff. I was an athlete. Well, I was on sports teams. I don't know that I could call myself an athlete by today's terms, but I was always the player that was last doing all the runs, and then everybody would have to run again because of me.
Yep.
And I never knew what I was doing when we were we had a gym at our school with weights and all that kind of stuff, and nobody was there to teach us what to do, and I was always doing everything wrong, and I just felt like a nuisance.
Yep.
And so it's carried that with me to my adult life, and it kept me away from exercising until this last July. And I would say my best piece of advice for people is find something that you really enjoy doing. I know you guys have a ton of stuff, but that's my big piece of advice. But find something you enjoy doing. I finally found something. I enjoy doing it. I love it. And I exercise now, guys. I get up at 4 a.m. in the morning and I go to the gym at 5 o'clock a lot. So yeah, anyways, carry on.
No, that's so good though. And
Exactly.
I love that like you get to break some of those old concepts that have held you back to find those new pursuits and passions of yours and let it even become part of that. And what I love, I want to always like preface it with this of if you're getting started, one of the joys that I had, because when I first started program, I had a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old. So my body even wasn't really physically like ready for exercise.
Mm-hmm.
So I loved that our program was like, that was like grace covering of like, it's not an exercise driven program. You're still going to be able to move forward and reach so many of these results as you're just getting some of that extra body weight off by focusing in on your nutrition and focusing in on your healthy mind piece and digging into the habits of health. But what I also naturally see for so many of my clients, and what I even discovered for myself, is as that weight started to come off and I had more energy and I felt more confident and I just felt better, I naturally wanted to start moving more and doing more. And so many of my clients do as well. And so then we want to help you continue to weave movement. It doesn't always have to be like in the box, like exercise at the gym or anything,
right,
but weave movement in throughout your day and then just gradually ramp up over time because it is going to be a huge, huge predictor of your long-term success.
Right.
But yeah, continue to kind of pop in the chat. What are maybe some of those aversions that you either had or you maybe still have? Like for many, it's going to be time. It's guilt about being away from the kids usually. I know that was a big one for me. It was that I was intimidated. The gym was expensive. I didn't have the money to pay for a membership. I was worried about kind of injuring myself and like holding myself up in some ways. I was worried about not getting results, or I maybe had been going and wasn't getting the results. Or sometimes there were just some things that I was doing that it was really boring. I didn't want to put my time there.
Right. And it puts you in the situation where you expect results, and if you don't get results, you're just like, man, what am I doing? And it makes you rethink everything. But the science behind our program and Dr. A's Habits of Health Chapter 14 really lays it out. And when you have it dialed in correctly, the results come. So there may be one little thing off and then another little thing off, but it's something that it's dialed in. It's really helpful. My aversions were, I didn't want to be that like, what do you do? Just looking at somebody's camera's nose was showing up. That was pretty awesome, Kristen. So anyway, my aversion was I didn't want people to think of me as some meathead. I see these kinds of guys at the gym. I got not intimidated. Well, yeah, intimidated, but just annoyed by guys coming up to me and asking me questions about like what I was trying to do there, and I just wasn't comfortable working out in the gym because I didn't want to be around those kinds of people. And more so lately, it's been exciting. I think Sarah said it last time on the call, was like I had an unhealthy relationship with exercise. I realized once I didn't have to exercise to lose weight, exercise became much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
And it was just about moving and doing something physical with my body. When I turn and I feel a tightness or a pain or something like that, working through that and helping me get through that, it's really, really fun now. It's not so critical to my health overall. So
yeah, absolutely. Well, and we know that the aversions are real, because if you haven't read in The Habits of Health, Dr. A's book, chapters 14 through 16, some of the statistics don't lie. So 60% of people are getting no regular physical activity. 50% of people that begin an exercise program quit after 6 months. And then this one was really eye-opening. 1 year after purchase, 90% of all exercise equipment goes unused and becomes like a coat rack.
Usually by March. So if you're wanting to start some kind of build some sort of home gym or something like that, now's a great time to get on Facebook and on Craigslist.
Yeah, but here's the thing: like, why have the focus on exercise? Like, what are some of the benefits? Because usually that's what we want to zero in on, so that it gives us some of that in excitement and motivation to incorporate it.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously I love the way Dr. A kind of puts it too. If exercise was a pill, it would be the most prescribed medication ever. Why? Because it builds your muscle, but it also strengthens your bones. It's going to increase and improve your immune system. It's going to decrease inflammation. It's going to burn more calories. It's going to increase your endurance. It's going to improve your sleep. It's going to decrease your stress levels. It slows the aging process. Like, who doesn't want to tap into that fountain of youth?
I got some attention. There's some attention.
Right? Like, everybody wants to slow the aging process. And here's some other awesome things: is it's going to increase those dopamine and serotonin levels, which we had talked about, if you remember, from our sleep chapter. So those feel-good hormones. And so we want to improve and increase that. But it also decreases fatigue by 65%.
Yeah.
And
how soon? Because some of the people in the chat here are saying, I don't want to be tired before I go to work, and my body is tired when I get home. So when do I work out? Right. So
yeah. We will cover that. So that's the neat thing too, is again, sometimes we think of exercise as like, we must go to the gym for 30 minutes a day or 45 minutes a day or something. And so it's like we have maybe that all or nothing mindset around it. And what I love with Dr. A's Habits of Health, again, with the chapters 14 through 16, is it's really there. We're going to give you some training wheels for approaching exercise at first. Again, to where you get to weave movement, focus on movement, not so much exercise as you're first getting started. So where then it's going to be building and compounding over time, and then you'll have more energy, you'll feel better, and then you'll make the time because it feels so great when you create that.
So I wanted to, like Megan had said, training wheels. I want to give you guys kind of a mindset to approach most or any exercise, honestly, even into the really, really difficult exercise. And it's an acronym. We were military, so acronyms just ring for us.
Strong for us.
FIT, F-I-T-T, and it stands for frequency, intensity, time, and type. If you've taken any kind of exercise physiology class or were with a trainer at some point, they may have told you about this: frequency, intensity, time, and type. And what I think of this as like a machine with 4 different knobs on it, right? And there's frequency dial, an intensity dial, a time dial, and a type dial. And so so I want you to think of any kind of physical activity you do, whether it's brushing your teeth or doing your dishes or walking from your car to the house or to the office or something like that. I want you to start seeing it in terms of those 4 letters: frequency, intensity, time, and type. A type would be like walking or running or standing or sitting or weightlifting or an aerobics class, a step aerobics class, a cardio kick, training in terms of running and things like that. That's your type. And when you're messing with the mode or the type of exercise, you also can change the knobs of frequency, intensity, and how long you're doing it. So time is kind of like duration too. And so what I typically like to tell people is if you look at exercise with those 4 components, there's really nothing that doesn't operate as exercise. So Dr. A in Habits of Health talks about the NEAT principle, right? And that's non-exercise. What is it? Activity thermogenesis. Don't get scared by the big words. All that means is your temperature goes up a little bit, or your metabolism goes up a little bit. So non-exercise activity, that's like standing to do the dishes or standing at your desk.
I'll cover those a little bit more.
And so, yeah, Lori mentioned it on a Habits of Health call a while ago. Different things that get you thinking about more acronyms, so that you have access to exercise. I'm a physical therapist, and there's so many times in my day where people's pain is dependent on them exercising, but they don't want to exercise. I got to tell people who don't want to exercise is your way out, and they don't like that. So I have to break down exercise into small little tasks that they can do, and NEAT fits directly into that, where it's not going to the gym. You don't have to have an outfit. You don't have to have the right kind of shoes. I find the more conditions that I put on exercise, the less they do it. And that's kind of really everybody's case, right? Like, I don't want to have to go to the gym. I don't want, we don't want to have to go do these things. How can I fit it into my life? And so Megan's got, what is it? Six S's.
6 S's. So yeah, another kind of acronym, but the goal is to just think of ways that you can kind of sneak extra movement in throughout your day is the way I kind of even add that S. So 1 is stance. So working on your posture. You can do that if you're sitting at your computer desk. You can do that if you're sitting in your car, just focusing on improving that posture. We're improving some of that core strength as well. Mm-hmm. Standing instead of sitting whenever possible. So you could always get a standing desk even. You can just stand to do the dishes. You can just continue to incorporate, again, any form of movement. Right. Working on strolling, so incorporating some more walks into your day. So even if that's if you're at work, going to the farthest bathroom, or if you are at home, like taking the dog out for a walk, taking the kids out for a walk. Sometimes they need it, that energy burst too, just as much. Stairs is your next one. So again, taking the stairs whenever possible. Samba, this is probably one of my favorites, and something that we've done for a long time now is incorporating little dance parties in throughout your day. My mood and everything is so driven by music a lot of the times too. And so just getting the kids out there, doing those little 5-minute breaks of samba and dancing, and then switch is your other big one. So instead of loading all the dishes into the dishwasher, standing there and washing them by hand, whenever possible, just switching out. Again, just working on that mindset of how can I sneak or incorporate more movement in throughout my day. I remember doing this literally, guys, because I told you I had a 3-year-old and a 3-month-old when I first started. And so I didn't have the full block off time anyways that I could get to the gym, but I knew I had 2-minute little pockets all throughout. So sometimes if I was brushing my teeth, I would do some squats or I would do toe raises. You have a lot of time on your hands that you're just not necessarily taking advantage of. So your new word is move. Just continually breathe that word into your mind all throughout the day. And that's going to give you, again, some of those training wheels to incorporate in. And the other big thing I wanted to talk about, though, and Natalie, this kind of hits on what you were saying of like, you're so tired, you're standing all day long for your work. So some of it is more about your mindset around exercise. Again, so many of us, we think that we have to go to the gym. It's got to look like this to be exercise. There was a study that was done on 84 housekeepers that they're on their feet all day long. And when they were polled, 2/3 of them said that they get no exercise whatsoever, even though really they're exercising all day long with just their occupation and what their job is. So they had a 15-minute presentation to say, you know what, your job is good exercise. Like, you're getting a lot of movement in. You're meeting the Surgeon General's requirements for exercise. And then they followed up with those same housekeepers the next 4 weeks and compared it to the ones that didn't get that message. They, just within that, hearing that 15-minute message, they had decreased blood pressure, they had decreased body fat, and they had increased job satisfaction. So some of it, again, is just our mindsets around what does exercise look like. And the more that you can see that it's actually can just start off for us as those 6 S's. We're going to switch it up, and we're going to be standing, and we're going to have the Samba in our day. You're actually getting a lot more movement than you probably even recognize.
Right. And the reasons why it works into that, if you think of fit again, your intensity is very low, but your type of exercise is very fixed. And then the time that you do that exercise is 8 hours in terms of a housekeeper's job or something like that. And then the frequency is every dang day. So they have tons of exercise through tons of frequency, and that is what makes it, that's what makes it exercise. If you think of things, anything in that NEAT category, any of those 6 S's is high frequency every single day and high duration. It's not very intense. And the type doesn't switch very much, but I guess it does, because if you want to get technical with pushing and pulling and cleaning and all that kind of stuff in terms of housekeeping, but in all of those other things, the sitting, the standing, switching things up, that's so varied that it's going to give you good exercise. And so just like in that study where they told the housekeepers, you're getting good exercise, I want you guys to feel empowered that you can have exercise throughout your day. Honestly, too, you don't even really need to sweat in order for your body to make changes. Exercise is something that it can be weaved in, just like Megan's saying, throughout your day. So that's kind of for people who have no exercise regimen as of yet. You don't want to start on 5 and 1 and start some really intense exercise that you've never been doing. But if you have started already, it's something that you should definitely continue while you're on 5 and 1, because your body's already used to it. And we don't want you to stop something that's fun for you and that's actually good for the long term, because it's going to make better health benefits in the long run. So for those middle of the road exercisers, I would try to make it fun. And that's what Kristen was saying early on in the meeting, was find something that's fun. It almost doesn't have to be high intensity. If you can keep going and you get that frequency up, and you're having fun, that's what it's about. It's not changing the type, but I mean, if you like softball but never have played softball, pick softball. If you want to go play beach soccer, I've seen people do that. Go do that. Pick something, and there's really nothing to hold you back. Not really. Yeah. Think about it in terms of intensity. While you're there, you want to keep the intensity kind of low. But if it's every day and it's for a long time, you're doing it right. And then for the more avid exercisers, you guys probably know about this FIT principle. You guys are manipulating it daily, where maybe you're not doing it every day. You don't do weights every day. You do weights 3 days a week, but your intensity is really high, and maybe your duration isn't 8 hours, it's 40 minutes, right? That type of exercise is weightlifting, and then you do it for 40 minutes, 3 days a week. That's just one type of exercise. And then the other days, I would be doing cardio. I would be getting into some classes. If you go to a gym, if you don't go to a gym, something more aerobic like walking. And walking is easy too, because you can gauge your progress. You know how far you're going, you know how many minutes you've been out there. It doesn't have to be distance. And if you consider hills, that's that changing of the intensity. So that means you don't have to be out there as long. So it gets kind of more complicated the better you get at it, and the better in the shape that you're in, the better shape you're in. You do have to manipulate the things because your body is going to learn how to adjust. It's so accurate at adapting to these things that every few months, I've heard every 4 weeks, you got to change the type of exercise you're doing just to keep your body guessing and to keep growing.
The other big things that we were kind of going to touch on too is that sometimes people do start off with far too strenuous or intensive an exercise. And so exercise really should be something that's fueling you, that's energizing you.
Right.
Again, it's supposed to decrease fatigue. It should not be increasing your fatigue. So if you are feeling some of those, the strain of that, you might be starting off a little too hard, and you might need to scale back that intensity or duration.
Right.
Some of the other big things that we want our clients to be continually thinking of too, because weight loss is very different than fat loss. So sometimes if you're going to be increasing your activity and your exercises, and you're actually going to be building lean muscle mass in, which is going to weigh more, you might see that scale move a little bit. And so if you're so fixed and focused on what that scale says, that might be a little bit of a hang up for you. So we just want to make sure that you're aware weight loss is different than fat loss. And so that's when you're then going to want to say like, oh, but I'm down like 4 inches in my waist. So I'm going to be okay with like seeing the scale move a little bit because I'm building in some lean muscle mass as I'm decreasing that body fat. And so just to be aware of that difference.
If you guys have any questions too, I would speak to your health coach. They know your story better than we do, specifically. So yeah, reach out.
And then the other thing that a lot of people are concerned with is getting out of fat burn. So exercise alone is not necessarily going to be the thing that kicks you out of fat burn. What tends to be the thing that kicks people out of fat burn is their mindset after the fact, because it's usually then like, oh, I burned so many calories, I need to take in so many extra calories, or it's going to be increasing your appetite. And so people then end up sometimes taking in too many extra carbs, or even adding in a lot of extra protein afterwards. They can be dehydrated afterwards, so that can kick you out as well. And so a lot of times though, it's just that we justify the extra eating and the extra appetite. So one thing that we've found to be effective for ourselves even, and again, chat with your health coach if this is something you're wanting to maybe incorporate in. Something we've found to be effective is using DotFit Amino Boost pre and post workout it's something that you're going to add to your water.
It's something that you should consider. Kristen's showing us.
Yep.
What she has, it's what your body is after, specifically after high impact or high intensity exercise. Your body wants aminos to rebuild what you've broken down, and that will kind of be generated as this. I don't know, I get really, really hungry after I exercise, and that's what would make me go get a cheeseburger back in the day, because I felt justified and man, I was hungry. But having just those 11 carbs or 15 grams of protein that's in that right balance of amino acids, my body uses that. I don't get that craving after I exercise. So, and it's just increased protein. It's not even a lot. It's not like 30 grams. It's only about 15 grams. So.
Or the other thing is, instead of adding, what a lot of people tend to do is adding in extra carbs or a lot of extra protein, is you can maybe tweak a little bit with adding some extra healthy fats. So again, this is something that you would want to work with your personal coach or even nutrition support. But we wanted to let you know that that's usually the thing that's going to help you still stay in fat burn and continue to lose the body fat, but also continue to progress.
Because we want you to move.
We want you to move.
It's so easy to get out there and move, and don't let anything hang you up. Whether it's not having all of the nutrition down pat, you don't need it at the beginning. Your body is going to do just fine with the nutrition that you got, and we just want to see you guys out there moving and feeling that nothing can hold you back right now.
Yeah, but enjoying the process.
Absolutely.
And so sometimes that is part of it, is finding those passions or exploring what new ones might be. So like we were sharing at the beginning, we started a new workout class today, and it's fun to just continue to change things up. find new passions, discover this about yourself. We're going to wrap up tonight too with a really, really special story. Christina, are you on here, and can you pop off and kind of share your bigger life story, your transformation story for us?
Hi guys. Thank you for having me on here. I am one of those 60%, to be quite honest, who is just like, yeah, I'm not into the healthy movement thing, but I can tell you that it is amazing to start incorporating that in. And I started a little over a year ago on the 5-in-1, and I was 300 pounds. I'm down a little over 96 pounds at this point, which is super exciting. And it has been, just transformational, just going from a season of just being really hopeless in my health and not really knowing where to go from that point, and then just embracing this freedom that has come with just not only the weight loss, but recognizing, number one, some of the unhealthy habits that I've had, or some of the barriers that I have faced. And so being able to recognize that by, embracing the community piece, being integrated in that, and then really diving into the Habits of Health book. I know that it was a coaster for me, probably for a couple months when I was first starting program. And I was like, I don't need to read that book. And I was told, like, you know what, you don't have to read it cover to cover. Just open it, get some info, and dive into that info from week to week and just kind of like soak it in, right? Because this is the long haul. This is what we're doing. And the healthy movement piece has been phenomenal because it's made it doable for me. I used to live with a person who was honestly like a personal trainer, and she was always having me do like some fun, exercises, but I do not like to sweat. It's miserable, especially at 300 pounds, I'll be totally honest. And it's something I'll do kicking and screaming. But it made me feel so good. Getting in that healthy movement was just like phenomenal. And so getting to that point in my health journey to be able to reincorporate that has been really nice. And granted, like I'm not one of those that does the fit, at least at this juncture. But I can say that like incorporating in like pre-bedtime stretching, or like getting in a walk when I can, or like Megan said, like taking the stairs. Still something I'm working on, but definitely something that always helps. And it definitely helps, it kind of boosts your energy a little bit when you're done doing that. But overall, I would just encourage you guys just to know that, the barriers that you might have had with healthy movement at a heavier weight, or maybe a less healthy lifestyle, whether it was because of your nutrition or your habits, whatever the case was, that as your body is physically changing and as you're fueling it for what it needs, the healthy movement piece becomes a little bit more desirable and more tolerable. So I would just definitely encourage you, if you're like, I'm not into healthy movement, I don't do exercise. That was before. And we're in the now, and the now is very, very exciting. And so I would just encourage you to just like to embrace that and to walk in that, and let that like kind of just like soak in and see how that transforms how you perceive your journey, and keep going from there. So yeah, I appreciate you guys taking the time.
So awesome.
We're so happy for you.
Yeah. I love just following your journey continually, and just there's new layers every day about it. And so we're just so excited for you, Christina, and congrats. And for everybody else watching too, I just think like kind of cast yourself out into the future and just know that like your transformation is also going to be this inspiration for other people as well. And we can't wait to hear you share your own story one day. Thanks so much for everybody jumping on tonight. We're going to wrap it up. I hope that what you got tonight is going to be something that you can incorporate into your journey. And just, again, think through this whole week about how can you sneak some extra movement in throughout your day, and share it with your coach. Share the things, those little tiny changes that are going to compound over time, that are going to be making a big difference. And then again, maybe what are some of those things that as you even think into the future, maybe by spring and by summer, what are the new activities and those new exercises that maybe you want to give a try? Maybe you want to go kayaking this year. Maybe you want to start paddleboarding. Maybe you want to go on a rafting trip. Maybe you want to
I'm gonna go on a
get back
hiking
to bike
trip.
riding.
Going on a hiking trip for a week. So yeah,
Exactly.
not easy.
So start getting excited for that too. And
Yeah.
what is that, like Christina said, we're in the now. And so as you are continually embracing the now and what you can do today and but also what are you going to be creating and what are you excited to be doing by spring and summer. So have a great night, everyone. And we just, again, love our time together and excited to see you back next Monday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific. Take care. Bye.